Well, how's it going, my beautiful people watching this live stream? To those who watched the earlier videos this week, Monday and Tuesday, of us predicting the NHL playoffs here at OSN, me, Cody, Ben, and the other guys here at OSN would love to thank you guys for watching those and supporting the channel if y'all can. You know, if you can, share the video, spread the news about the channel, and just spread the word about what we're doing. Now on to business. So like I brought up the old videos because today what I want to do is I want to review in my own little show here, the Randall Beatley Show. Again, it's something I've been doing. It was called Phenomenal Show Off Live when we first started this, when it was just based on wrestling. Then we moved to more sports, and I was like, well, that named it, and I got rid of that persona and became, just Randall Beatley. What's the show going to be called? Well, let's just name it the Randall Beatley Show. It works for a lot of other people, so it could work for me. So today I'm gonna cover some hockey stuff. Game ones were played Wednesday and Thursday night. It is Friday here today. And so the last 2 nights we've had game ones. Game twos are played today and tomorrow. So I want to go over about 5 series game ones that I think, to me, surprised me more than anything else. And just things I have concerns on, things I have some comments to say. And I'm going to go ahead and list the 5 series I'm going to talk about so y'all can, maybe just be prepared. And it's going to be the Penguins series, the Knights series, the Jets series, the Capitals series, and the Bruins series. Of course, I got to do the Bruins. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and start with the Pens. They were the first game on Wednesday night to be played, and they completely obliterated the Flyers. Completely just obliterated. I just want to read some stats. We'll go to the goalie first. So Matt Murray, 24 of 24. Which is amazing. 24 of 24. He was on fire on Wednesday night. Goals coming from Rust, Gunsel, Malkin, 3 from Crosby. They ended up winning 7 to 0, which completely just surprised me. And so here's my comments, my take on this series. If Philly cannot play, because Philly cannot play that way ever again. Like, that was just, to me, unacceptable. They played tonight at 7 on NBC Sports Network. And if they have another game, if game 2 is like game 1, I'm just going to go ahead and call the series, and that I was wrong by picking the Flyers. But I think, you got the jitters out now. The Flyers just got to play their brand of hockey. I didn't see that coming out of them. So with that said, I was just completely shocked of how dominant the Penguins looked. If they play that way, they're definitely a threat. If they play that way throughout the whole playoffs, but I don't know if that can go. I mean, they are in an in-state rivalry type game here, and so I assume the Flyers, and I really hope the Flyers come out tonight, and at least show some effort, say, hey, we want to get back into the series. So now we'll move to the Knights. It's another game that was played on a Wednesday. They ended up winning 1-0 scoring in the first and held the lead the whole time. Now, here's my take on this. So the goal was scored by Theodore. But here's my take on this series. Vegas cannot go games, just cannot win. They're not going to win the series if all they score is 1 goal a game. I don't think their defense is that good. Fleury, I think, is good, but I don't think the defense is that good. I think Fleury's going to need some help. They can't win the series just scoring 1 goal a game. I think the Kings are too dominant. Even though at a 3 seed, I think the Kings are going to be good enough to pull out games if all they do is just allow 1 goal for the Knights. The Knights are going to have to score a little bit more. They did get their first playoff win in history, so you kind of hope that the Knights can continue on. I think the Kings still are in it. They're not in the same situation I think Philly is. Philly really has to come out, put up a good battle tonight. The Kings, all they got to do tonight is play the same way they played Wednesday night. Get some puck luck, if that's what you want to call it. But get some good bounces. Play good hockey. Quick played good in game 1. They just gotta play a little bit better on offense. Definitely going to be a great series to watch if it continues the way it did game 1. I think the next series we're going to talk about is the Wild and the Jets. Came down to, I think, an overtime or a very late goal in the third. Not really late, but Morrow scored. First off, congrats, Joe Morrow, a former Bruin, to win the game there. But it came down to about 7 minutes left in the game when they scored the winning goal. So I just got to say this. It's going to be a great series. It was a great series already. Winnipeg, 40 shots on goal in game 1 compared to Minnesota's 20. That third period was entertaining. 4 of the 5 combined goals in the game came in the third. I think Minnesota can still be in it. Winnipeg is one of those teams. They played good enough to win, but they can't play that way throughout the whole playoffs. And so those are the 3 easy series I think I just want to talk about. Those are the games. Quick comments. Now the last 2 I'm going to spend some time on. Not a lot of time. This isn't going to be a long show. Just my take on some hockey stuff. We might talk about some other NFL stuff. That's why, we're going to talk about the draft. I'm going to give you my first round mock draft today live here on the OSN network, who I think each team takes in the first round. Now, I'll give my precursor to that in a minute. The last 2 series I want to talk about, so the Capitals and the Blue Jackets. Blue Jackets won last night in overtime. This is the game they went to overtime. Okay. In overtime, I got to say this. I really have to say this. This brings me great joy to say this. But thank you, Blue Jackets. I told you. If there's an upset, it would be the Blue Jackets on the Capitals. I really think so. If Philly can't pull it off, I think the Blue Jackets will. Thank you, Blue Jackets. Good Lord. God. This brings me great pleasure to see Capital fans blow up and get mad. And I know we got a couple of them work for the OSN here. Cody and my brother James are Capitals fans, and it brings me great pleasure every time I see the Capitals lose in the playoffs. Just because did I not say on the show that Ovi doesn't know how to play in the playoffs? He looked completely disinterested. I didn't watch most of the game, but I've watched highlights and I've read other people's comments on Washington sports pages because I do follow them because I am from DC and I do like. It's going to make a couple of people. I like the Nationals. I follow the Nationals. The Red Sox are my team, but I like the Nationals. So whenever they talk about the Nationals, I like Bryce Harper. It's basically all the people on the Nationals I like is Bryce Harper. If he went to any other team, I'd stop following the Nationals. I'm like that with a couple of teams. I don't like the Cubs. I like Ben Zobrist, and so when the Cubs won the World Series, I had a World Series shirt with Ben Zobrist name. I didn't get it because of the Cubs. I got it because of Ben Zobrist, and I've been wanting a shirt for a long time, and he signed a long-term deal with the Cubs. When every other contract he signed was a 1-year deal, and I wasn't gonna buy a team shirt for a 1-year deal when he's not gonna play for him. So he's on the Cubs now. Congrats, Ben Zobrist, for all your. Or anyway, but back to the Capitals here. Did I not say Tuesday night? Go back and watch this. That Ovi does not know how to play in the postseason. He looked completely disinterested. You had Kuznetsov, Backstrom, and Carlson on both scoring plays in the first. Your next goal was Smith Pelly. Carlson with his third assist. So Carlson definitely played the best. But this is just, to me, too predictable. The Caps always do this. And if they get by this series, they'll have to play Philly or Pittsburgh, with my best guess at this moment being Pittsburgh, a hot Pittsburgh team who might be well rested if they play like they did Wednesday night. The Pens will sweep them in 4, be done next Tuesday, and the Caps will have to continue on to win the series. It's going to take 7, in my opinion. You've done lost home ice. You're going to have to win tomorrow night to even be considered to win the series, in my opinion. If the Blue Jackets get another win in Washington, the series is over, especially if it's up 2-0. That's just my opinion. If it's up 2-0, the Capitals are done. And who better than Columbus to knock them out? That's great. I can tell you this: the Capitals are not the Capitals of last year. I don't think, and I'll even agree. I'll even think that a lot of Capital fans will tell me this: they don't deserve a number 1 seed. They got lucky that Pittsburgh had Murray out for as long as Murray was out for, and it really halted them. I also think that the Rangers completely trying to rebuild and get rid of a lot of pieces made the Metropolitan an easier division to win, because you had essentially 5 good teams in Washington, Pittsburgh, Philly, Columbus, and New Jersey? The Metro. You had Washington, Pittsburgh, Philly, Columbus, and I don't necessarily know let me look in the division here. Yeah, in New Jersey, because both wild cards came from New Jersey. But those 5 teams are good, and you could take New Jersey out because, I mean, they had a great season, but coming into it, you really didn't see them being all that good. But the Rangers finishing last in the Metro isn't surprising since they sold everybody. But I really figured that, at the deadline, the Rangers were up there in the playoff contention. And so you got to say, with the Rangers selling everyone, it's easy to make the playoffs. And then you got to think Murray being out for like 11, 12 games. If they had Murray and win half of them, Pittsburgh won the division. And so Capitals definitely aren't a number 1 seed in my book. I don't think they played like a number 1 seed last night. I think Ovi needs to get more in right. I don't think Ovi showed he cared. And I focus a lot on Ovi because he's the captain. The same way a lot of people focus on Chara, and I'll talk about the Bruins here in a little bit, and comments made on the podcast on Tuesday. But a lot of people when they say the Bruins aren't good, and they focus on Chara. Well, My problem is I don't believe Chara is our captain or should be our captain. I think Bergeron should be our captain. I think he's played like a captain more than Chara has. I will agree Chara isn't that. I think he's a good player, but he's old and he doesn't do a lot on the. He did the goal that Toronto did score. I'll talk about this later. It was Chara's fault that the goal was scored. I watched that game late last night. I closed last night at my job. And so I couldn't watch the game, but I recorded them and I saw some of the highlights. And I watched the game, the Bruins game last night. And so, anyway, to the Capitals, I think what's a must for the Capitals? They have to win game 2, and they have to win either games 3 or 4. They have to get home ice back in their favor. If not, they're done. It's gonna go 7 in my books. And I think the Blue Jackets win. I hope it doesn't go 7 because I want the Blue Jackets to be well rested to play whoever they play because they're either going to play a Philly team that has a lot of momentum because they beat the Penguins who beat them 7-0, or they're going to play a well rested Penguins team who either sweeps or wins in 5 against the Flyers. So it all comes down to that series, in my opinion, or those series in the East, I think. It all comes down to who represents the Metro in the Eastern Conference Finals, because I don't think the Devils will. They're going to lose to the Lightning. I think we all know that. The Lightning won game 1. I'm not going to really talk much about it, but the Lightning won 5-2. And so outside of the Capitals Blue Jackets game, there's been a lot of blowouts in game 1s. With that one being close, Pittsburgh winning by 7, 5-2. The Lightning won, and the Bruins won 5-1. So we figured it would be a lot more, I think, close games in these series. I think they're spreading each other out. Where the Western Conference is the close games, and I think that shows the thing we were talking about in our podcast. That the Eastern Conference is high-paced, skill-based. How good are you with the stick type, offensive type of hockey, which is the type of hockey I like. Because I'm a offensive type of person, whereas the Western Conference it's going to be defense and goalie. And so I think in the Western Conference that favors Nashville and that favors LA, because they got the best 2 goalies, in my opinion, in the Western Conference that are in the playoffs. Fleury's good. Golden Knights aren't completely out of it if that style is how it's going to play. Fleury's good, but I think Quick is better. I don't know the Ducks goalie, but I know to me Martin Jones is going to be better. The Avalanche with Bernier's a backup. He's not going to beat the Predators. They're going to need a lot of good defense. I don't think they have it. And then the Jets Wild series is just going to be good. Got Helbjak and Dubnik, 2 guys who aren't really necessarily playoff experienced, and so it's going to be very interesting to see how that series works on. And so to the series, the Bruins and the Maple Leafs. First off, the Bruins absolutely destroyed this game. I just want to call out real quick before I make any other talks about the Bruins. I really just have a question to Benjamin Bolt. You know, the guy on here who said the Bruins are too slow and old and they're not going to be able to handle the speed of Toronto. Can you please just recant that statement? Absolutely the worst statement you could have made, and this is why I rebuked it when you said it. I'm going to rebuke it today. We have so much youth on this team, so much speed on this team, and that's what put up 5 goals against Toronto, who only scored 1. And their 1 was a goal that I'm going to go back to this Chara play. Chara pinched in a situation he shouldn't have pinched in, and Hyman, with his speed, of course, Chara is old and slow, so Chara doesn't have the speed to catch up. But it wasn't as if it was just him by himself. We had, I think McAvoy was on him as well. He just couldn't get there in time. If Chara wouldn't have pinched, he would have been able to play as well, and it would have been we would have had 2 or 3 guys back there instead of the one guy in McAvoy trying to get over, because we had an offenseman playing against him because McAvoy was still trying to catch up because Chara was the guy and Chara pinched. And so their one goal, if Chara didn't pinch, would have probably not have happened. But you got Marchand scoring early in the first on a really good goal. Hyman, like I said, scored late in the first. So then guys like Backes, who people don't understand how good Backes is. He's a fourth liner on our team, and he's a depth forward, but that's what he's supposed to be. He's there to draw the penalties. He's there to help the guys on the first 2 lines, sort of take away. He got all the hits that he needed to do, but he did score. Made me happy. You got Pasternak getting a goal really late in the second. You had Corrali in the third score about halfway through the third. You had Krejci score with DeBrus getting the assist. Torrey Krug had 2 assists. Bergeron with an assist. Marchand a goal and an assist, as well as a kiss. That's the Brad Marchand hat trick. A goal, assist, and a kiss. Krejci with a goal and an assist. McAvoy with an assist. Overall, this just the complete domination in my opinion. This completely overall domination of this team. Backes, Marchand, and Krejci's goals were power play goals, so the power play unit is there. Corrali coming back, getting his first of the postseason early in the postseason, really amazing. We play again tomorrow night at 8. So I'll actually be able to watch this one. Awesome. And so for the Bruins have to, can keep home ice, play good tomorrow night, go to Toronto, take 1, and then just, I don't want to say coast, but you don't have to play as hard in Game 4 if you're up 3-0. You can clinch in Toronto. I'd rather you come home in Game 5 and clinch, because I always am big of you clinching on home ice, and I don't think again, you don't really have to play as hard in Game 4 in Toronto if you lose a Game 4, because you didn't play as 100% just so you can rest yourself for Game 5 to win the series. I'm completely fine with that. I think if we played the way we played last night, I told you there was a grit, there was an aggressiveness. This is a rivalry. This is playoff hockey. We know this. Bergeron played well. Marchand played well. Pasternak played well. The lower line's really impressed me. The defense played well. I don't know. That's the little question mark. Can we keep that up? Because Rask isn't going to let goals in if he has a defense in front of him. Rask is playing amazing playoff style hockey right now. He's in the zone. And a lot of people coming into the game were like, well, Bruins lost 3 of their last 3 games. Coming into the playoffs, are they going to have that momentum? Well, we got it early. Rick Nash is back. He played well. He played aggressive. There were several scoring chances. We had 40 shots on net. Several scoring chances that the Bruins had that I think should have gone in. Anderson, I think, is our goalie. He played really well. He's going to need some help for Toronto. The fact that we shut down, for the most part, Austin Matthews and Kadri's, I think, going to be suspended a couple games for his late hit in the third on Wingles. Kadri's just a dick all around, so I hope they suspend him the rest of the series. In my opinion, I don't like dealing with them. There's a difference between playing dirty hockey and playing playoff hockey. And the Bruins played playoff hockey. We got aggressive, but we knew the line was Kadri past the line. We did thank you, Wingles. While I didn't want you to take the hit, yeah, you're gonna get a guy that's that no one in Boston, no Boston fan likes. I mean, Kadri's gonna be out for a couple games, in my opinion, if not just one. I hope it's like a 2 or 3 game suspension, but one will be just fine. So for the Bruins, all you really got to do is just win the series, right? Win the next game, take it game by game. If you win game 2, you're up 2-0. If you go to Toronto and win game 3, even better. And so give me about 30 seconds to log into my mock draft here. Should have had this already up. All right, log in real quick. Here we go. We already got it logged in. All right. So, with this saying, with what I have, what I'm going to say is this is the situation in case draft picks don't get traded. I think there are going to be a lot of trades in the first round of the draft, with there being about 5 elite quarterbacks and a lot of teams aiming for a quarterback, if not to be a starter, to be a backup. But this is under the guise that there will be no trades and that people will fall to where they fall. I didn't necessarily pick by number 1 need, but by 1 where I think players will go, 2 where I think based on some need. So we're going to start with number 1, the Cleveland Browns. Got them going Josh Allen, number 1. Why? I think they're going to get a quarterback at either 1 or 4. It wouldn't surprise me if they trade one of these picks, especially number 4. That's going to be a hot pick. And so it wouldn't surprise me if they move back. They've done it before where they've had two top 10 picks and they move their second of those picks back to the 20s to they move back a little bit. But I got Josh Allen. I think Rosen, as I already stated, he doesn't want to play there. So Cleveland, I don't think you should be interested in drafting Sam Darnold, I'm not a big fan of. As a number 1 pick, I think he needs some time to develop. And Cleveland isn't the system where you'd want to develop players in, because they're looking for that quarterback, and their problem is they don't put stock in developing quarterbacks. They're trying to push them to be day 1 starters. And I think Josh Allen goes here for the fact that I think he's the most developed of the quarterbacks out there that fits the system, fits Cleveland. Coming from Wyoming, an unknown team, to the Browns in an unknown. I mean, Cleveland is a big city, but football-wise, not really. It's not a big market, and so he's not going to have a lot of talk going on outside of Cleveland about him unless he plays really well. So pick 2, it's the New York Giants. I have them getting Quentin Nelson. I don't think it's time to get a quarterback yet. You can wait till later in the draft. You get those top 5 elite guys, and Allen, Barkley, Baker Mayfield, Rosen, and Darnold. Not Barkley, excuse me. Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, and Josh Rosen, and then you can count Lamar Jackson in the top 5 elite style quarterbacks. To me, Lamar Jackson isn't elite yet. He's a good prospect, but I don't think he'll go early. But the other guys will go top 15, the other 4. I think you got guys like Mason Rudolph and Luke Falk later in the draft. You can get in the second round for the Giants. I think he will still be good and able to replace Eli, but Eli's biggest problem right now is he has his receiver core. That can get a little better again. That can wait to 3rd, 4th, 5th round to get some of those guys, if not free agency. But his biggest problem is Eli has no one to really block for him. And to me, Quentin Nelson out of Notre Dame, I think he's a guard. Yeah, he's a guard. He's 6'5", 320, or almost 330. He's from New Jersey. I think he's the best player in the draft. It's not a sexy pick because offensive linemen are never sexy picks. And he could bust easily. But I think he's the best pick in the draft. In terms of overall players, I think the best quarterback is Allen. He goes number 1. The best player in the draft is Quentin Nelson. He'll go number 2 to the Giants. Now, to the other side, to the Jets. Both New York teams here in the top 5. With the trade that the Jets made with the Colts are still going to get a good player when we go down to 6. We'll talk about that. I think Sam Darnold goes to the Jets. To me, you get Sam Darnold. You put Fitzpatrick as your starter. I think Fitzpatrick's still on the Jets. But you got Sam Darnold, who played really well. He didn't really show. He didn't really play. His last game in college wasn't all that good. In that bowl game, I thought he would definitely stay. But when he announced, I was like, okay, he's going to be in the top 5 no matter what because he's a quarterback. He's really good. His draft grade is a little bit better. It's about 1 point better than Josh Allen. I, however, think Sam Darnold's better. Or not better, but I don't think he's as developed as Josh Allen is. And while I can see these picks switching, and Allen can go a little bit later in the draft, I think Allen will go number 1. Sam Darnold going 3, because you can develop, I think, Darnold behind Fitzpatrick a little bit more for the Jets. It's a better situation for Sam Darnold. But we go to pick 4 with the Cleveland Browns. So you get your quarterback of what you think the future is, but that's been said about every quarterback that goes to Cleveland. I think what you need to do is take the pressure off the quarterback. And so you do draft a quarterback because what you got right now in Tyrod Taylor isn't. But you do have Taylor. And so what you can do is try to develop Josh Allen while you play Tyrod Taylor. And to me, if I was Cleveland, that's what you do. Whatever quarterback you take, because we know you're taking one, start Tyrod Taylor. Don't take Tyrod Taylor out after one game of not winning. You're not going to go from 0-16 to 10-6 in a season, especially with Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor's not the quarterback of the future, but you play him, you develop Josh Allen for a year or 2. Then you put Josh Allen in. You don't put him in his rookie year. He's not ready, I don't think. But if he develops behind the quarterbacks you have and you get a quarterback coach who is good at developing quarterbacks and Josh Allen puts his mind to it, of course Josh Allen can develop to be a good quarterback. Sam Darnold's in that same situation. But you need to take the pressure off the quarterback. And your defense is fine, in my opinion. You got Myles Garrett. He's going to be a beast when he's healthy. You got rid of Hayden, which was questionable, but I mean your defense is okay. You need something to help. You need some receivers, but pick 4 is too early to take a receiver in my book. Calvin Ridley, I think, is good enough to be a top. It'd be 15th or lower. Don't think he's a top 10 pick, and I don't think he's 14th or better. But 15th on down, I think, is a good place to get Calvin Ridley. With this saying, there is I think if Quentin Nelson isn't the best, there is a player who I can consider putting above Quentin Nelson. He's a running back. His name is Saquon Barkley. He's a dominant beast of a running back. I think he falls to 4 to Cleveland. So the thing is, Cleveland can do this one of 2 ways. You can take Saquon number 1 and take Josh Allen at 4, because I think, honestly, either Allen or Darnold will be at number 4, so you can get either one. I think you just go better to get Allen or your quarterback of your choice at 1. I think it would be Allen, and then get Barkley at 4, though it's more of a risk. Because Barkley, a lot of people are saying take Barkley 1 because the Giants are probably going to take him, and if not, the Jets will probably take him. I don't think the Jets get him. The Jets are going for a quarterback. You don't trade up to 3 to not get a quarterback, in my opinion, and trade what you traded to not get a quarterback of your future. I think the Giants need to get Quentin Nelson. They could get a quarterback, but I think they need to get Quentin Nelson because if you don't fix that offensive line, a running back's not going to help. So Saquon goes to number 4. Now, the next pick is surprising. The first defensive guy off the board is not going to be Bradley Chubb. It's Tremaine Edmonds out of Virginia Tech. What a player he was. Not a big name school anymore. Virginia Tech is good, but he's not a big name player. Out of Danville, Virginia, he's really good though, and I think you got your edge guys already on that defense for Denver. I don't think you need a quarterback. You got I forgot his name. The guy who used to play for Minnesota. We all know who I'm talking about. You got your quarterback in free agency, so you don't need to go after a quarterback. So I think you go try to help that defense up a little bit. Tremaine Edmonds does that job really well. Now just realize that the next, like, from pick 5 to pick 10 are all defensive guys because defense is deep in this draft, in my opinion. So pick 6 to the Colts. They traded back for this pick, and they're gonna get Bradley Chubb. Everyone's all big on Bradley Chubb. I think he's good enough to play in the NFL. I think he's definitely good enough to play in the NFL. Ray Lewis compared him to Terrell Suggs coming into the league. I can see that, but at the same time, Bradley Chubb, to me, he played for a rival school, so it's hard for me to talk positive about him, especially after what he did to Clemson. He sort of, he took property of Clemson. He took the towels from Kelly, but Kelly wore white towels, and he took a picture with a purple one. So somehow he got a purple towel that wasn't on the field because the players were white towels. Anyway, but I think character to me is what Bradley Chubb needs to develop. I don't know him personally. I've never talked to him. And he's a beast on the field. If he can put that together and to me, just the antics, that the whole taking the towel thing really just – I get football as a game of fun sometimes, and that's fun to some people. But to me, leave all that extracurricular stuff off the field. Just go play your game. That's the way I look at it. And so talent-wise, he's definitely a top 10 pick. To me, he's a top 5 pick. I just think the need – for an edge rusher for the top 5 teams isn't there, and so he falls to the Colts, who need everyone they can get to really help this program. Quarterback-wise, I don't think the Colts need a quarterback. That's why they traded back. They do got Jacoby Brissett, who, if developed right, I think plays well. He played with Bradley Chubb as well. You got to remember that. I think Chubb was a freshman, but he still played with Bradley Chubb at NC State. So pick 7. Now, this one can go one of 2 ways. I think they get a secondary member. This is Tampa Bay. I think they get a quarterback or of some type. They get a defensive back of some type. It can go Minka Fitzpatrick. It can go some other way. Derwin James is out there. I think they do need a corner, though, and that's why I go Denzel Ward. I think Denzel Ward, to me, out of Ohio State, is a little bit – he's a little bit better than Fitzpatrick in my book. I think Fitzpatrick is an awesome player, and he's a top 10 talent for sure. But Denzel Ward, to me, is just a little bit better. He played against, to me, just a little bit better of competition. That's my one thing against Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick is a great player. He basically helped win the national championship for Alabama this year. But my one complaint about any SEC talent, especially coming out of Alabama, is you don't play nobody. In my book, you don't necessarily play tough competition out of conference. Your in-conference schedule can get a little tough with the LSUs and the Auburns and teams like that. But your out-of-conference schedule, and a lot of tape you'll see of Fitzpatrick and Calvin Ridley in this draft will be against teams like Western Carolina or something like that. And I don't necessarily have respect for people who play those type of teams and then rack up all these stats. Like, those stats to me mean nothing. Like, any Clemson player who when they show their tape, they show games against South Carolina State or Citadel or something. Those games to me mean absolutely nothing. They're just to try to get the backups rep after you end up winning the season. You end up winning the game no matter what, so you get the backups in after you take a big lead. Anyway, so the Bears arguably have made the best preseason acquisitions. I think they make another good acquisition here, getting a defensive tackle to seal up that offensive line. Deron Payne is a beast. He is the one that beat Clemson. He got that interception. He almost returned for a touchdown, and then on the next play went on offense and caught the touchdown pass. He destroyed Clemson in that game. And really raised his draft grade. He's a top 20 national high school recruit. He since coming to Alabama, he's also over 50 pounds. He can, to me, he's another Vince Wilfork. And that's something that's a great compliment, I think. I think he can be a Vince Wilfork in the center. Or to put it to a Bears perspective, he could be another Refrigerator Perry. I think, in my opinion. So Deron Payne to the Bears at number 8. Number 9 is at the moment San Francisco. I think they're going to do a coin flip, though, for either San Francisco or Oakland. But at number 9 to San Fran, I got him taking Minkah Fitzpatrick. He's the top 10 talent. Definitely, I've already talked about his weaknesses. I think is that some of his tape isn't against the best of teams. But he definitely played well against Georgia in the national championship. So I'm not going to take anything away from him. He's a great player. So number 10 to the Oakland Raiders, I got safety Derwin James out of Florida State. He played really well. He has some people in his family, extended family, that play in the NFL or have played in the NFL. And so I think he knows what it takes. I think going to Oakland just makes it even better. He's a hard hitter, and I think that fits that Oakland style. Playing for Coach Gruden and for Oakland or Las Vegas. I don't know if they're moving to Las Vegas or this year or next year, but definitely one of the better talents Derwin James is in the NFL draft this year. So then we go to Miami, and then that they're in a situation where they can go up, they can get a quarterback, and as it works out so far, you only have 2 quarterbacks taken. I don't think it's how it's going to work again in real life. I think trades will happen. The top 5 quarterbacks will be off the board within the top 15 picks. I think based on need and without the trades, though, you're definitely going to have it work out another way. And I think Miami takes a quarterback, and they take Baker Mayfield out of Oklahoma at pick 11. For the simple reasoning that I just don't – he's not the greatest of the quarterbacks. I think Rosen's better than him. I think Darnold and Josh Allen are. I think his size is what he's 6'1", so he's a little undersized. He's going to be like another Drew Brees if he plays well. There's reports saying the Patriots could trade up to get Mayfield if they really wanted him. I don't think that happens. I think he goes to Miami. We don't know how Tannehill is going to fare, if he's going to come back from this injury and play better, and if he doesn't play good, does he get traded? Does he get released? Does he want to re-sign with Miami? So all that has to play into effect. So the next pick 12, the Bills. I think they traded. They either traded down or traded up or something, or rumored to trade this pick to move up a little bit. We'll see what happens. I don't think they do. They do need a quarterback. That's a position of need. I don't have them taking one, though. I have them taking Orlando Brown. I think if they stay with Peterman and they give him some receivers and give him some blocking, I think Peterman will work out just fine, in my opinion. But the Bills get Orlando Brown, the offensive tackle, out of Oklahoma. Plays really well. I think it's one of the big reasons Baker did so well. Pick 13, the Washington Redskins. They don't necessarily need a linebacker, but I think they can take one. It's somewhat of a need. So I think Roquan Smith out of Georgia, I think is one of the best defenders in this draft, especially front seven. Played really well in the national championship game. Played well in the game before that against I forgot who the other team was. So you had Clemson, you had Alabama, you had Georgia, and you had the team Georgia beat. I forgot. LOL. But anyway, Roquan Smith out of Georgia, ladies and gentlemen, to the Washington Redskins. And now I know I've said Calvin really isn't worth before 14 or before 15, but the Green Bay Packers are at 14. And I think they get Calvin Ridley. I don't think Ridley's the best receiver in the draft. I think that goes to another guy I'll talk about here soon. But I think the Packers are definitely in a need for a receiver especially after Jordy Nelson goes, and Calvin Ridley can just tear up the field. Randall Cobb, that takes a lot of the deep field responsibilities away from Randall Cobb. He can play more of the slot. And I think it will give Rodgers a brand new target to really fire at. So 15th, I think the Cardinals also take a wide receiver, and I think it's the best wide receiver in the class, and that's Christian Kirk at A&M, Texas A&M. I think he's definitely more developed. He's played more teams. He does play SEC talent as well, but not as easy as a schedule as Alabama. And he's in, I think, the tougher of the conference or of the divisions, in my opinion. He's like he goes against teams like Arkansas and stuff like that, but not as tough. A&M definitely, to me, he's a slot receiver. Give the quarterback there a new target to throw to. Anyway, Baltimore at 16. I think they get a linebacker out of Boise State, Leighton Vander Esch. What a name, though. I haven't seen him play. But 6'4", 255. With the 6'2" draft grade on NFL.com. So I mean, is he worth a top 20? I haven't seen enough tape to say yes or no, but I mean he has the sort of intangibles, the sort of gifts. He's 256. He's 6'4", like I already said. Like, he's built to be a linebacker. I think the Ravens need a linebacker. And so, I mean, they could take him right here. I think he'll be a definite first round, but right here could fit. So now we go to the Los Angeles Chargers, and they need a backup for Phillip Rivers. And now's that time. Josh Rosen gets picked. It's reasonable to think he can actually fall this far, and you don't have to trade up for Josh Rosen. He goes 17th to the Cardinals. I think the second best quarterback in this class with Allen, and then him, and then Darnold, and then Mayfield. And then to me, Rudolph is better than Lamar Jackson. I don't like Lamar Jackson at all just because of the style he plays. I don't think he plays a pro style. We'll talk about that later, though. Anyway, so 18, Seattle picks the Washington kid, and that's Vita Vea, or Vita Vea. I don't know how you pronounce it, but he'll stay in the state of Washington. Harold Landry goes 19 to Dallas Cowboys. We're going to go through this a little bit quicker, except for some picks. Darius Jude, I don't know how you pronounce it, goes to the Detroit Lions at 20. Taven Bryan, the defensive tackle out of Florida, to the Bills at 22. The Patriots at 23. This is a trade they made for Brandon Cooks. This was the Rams' original pick. They need a cornerback, so I think it's time to pick a cornerback. Mike Hughes at the UCF. Definitely, I can see him going here. He's been rumored to be going to the Patriots. Now the Panthers. The Panthers at 24 is a tough pick. If you want a Ridley or a Christian Kirk, to me, you got to trade up. They need a wide receiver, though. DJ Moore could fall to them if the Bills don't take him. I think I missed the Bills pick. DJ Moore, I think is the second best receiver. I think it's Kirk, then Moore, then Ridley, just because I don't think Ridley has all that in his game. He's a good player, but I think Moore's a little better. But the Panthers, I think they get a wide receiver, and that's Deion Kane out of Clemson. Early, I think, yes, Deion could go the late second round is where I think a lot of people have him projected. But I could see the Panthers picking him here because they need a receiver. The top three are gone. He's the next best. So the Titans get Rashaan Evans. Rasheem Green goes to the Falcons. He's a defensive end out of USC. Lamar Jackson goes to the Saints. Backs up Drew Brees. Eventually replaces Drew Brees. Justin Reed, the safety out of Stanford, to Pittsburgh. Will Hernandez, the guard out of El Paso, to the Jaguars. Cornerback Josh Jackson out of Iowa to the Vikings. The Patriots' second pick. I don't think they trade any of these picks, but I do think they need a quarterback. They get Mason Rudolph out of Oklahoma State. And then the last pick, 32, is running back out of USC to the Eagles, Ronald Jones. Probably not going to go this way, just my predictions on these picks. Thank you guys again for watching the Randall Beatley Show here on the Outlaw Sports Network. Again, share and promote this page for us, guys. Give us comments, feedback, whatever y'all want to give. Thank you again for watching, and enjoy the rest of your Friday and this weekend. Enjoy the NHL playoffs if y'all watch that. Enjoy the regular season for baseball. Football is around the corner. The draft is in 2 weeks. And so it's an amazing time to be a sports fan, as it is all year. So looking forward to continually broadcasting some new information and new shows and stuff around the corner. So keep an eye on the Facebook page and the YouTube page. And again, guys, thanks for watching the Outlaw Sports Network.